A man pulling away is not always proof that he's changed. Sometimes it reveals the version of you that comes out when love begins to get close. In the beginning, when you start dating, that version of you, especially when you meet somebody for the first time, that version of you is very powerful. You're very clear, you're selective, you are slow to trust, you take your time, you're not over functioning. That version of you is very attractive because you're not begging to be chosen. But what happens is, as the relationship progresses, intimacy is what causes the fear to come up and rise up inside of you. And that's what changes the way you behave. Because intimacy creates a level of closeness that triggers a fear of you losing it, right? So I want you to really think about it. When you start caring about somebody, fear of losing them becomes an issue. But when you don't care, you don't have a fear of losing them, right? So once the connection starts to matter, that's when things starts to change. That's when your energy starts to shift. You start scanning around, trying to prevent disappointment. You start overthinking things. You start trying to find issues. I've done that as well. When I first met my husband and when we were dating, I gave that man such a hard time. I know in hindsight now I talk about it and it's funny, but I really do have to take myself back to 20 something years ago when we first met. I really was operating from a place of fear and anxiety because I literally did not want to give my heart over to anyone because of the way I felt as a child, feeling abandoned as a child. When I came to America, I was 7 years old. 4 years later, my father died and my mother went to Nigeria to bury him. So she left us here with my aunt and an uncle to raise. And from the age of 12, I felt like I lost both parents, right? And so every year they would tell me my mother's coming back, but she never came back to America. I actually went to Nigeria to go visit her in my 20s, just to show you how long it took before I even got a chance to talk to my mother and have the, why did you leave me conversation. So when I first met my husband, I was in college. I was so afraid, even though he was behaving well, taking me out, no red flags, all green flags. And I mean all green flags. There was no red flags. I was still doubting. I was like, something is wrong. I almost broke up with him. You check out my story. I'm gonna link it here. My full story on how I almost broke up with him when we went out on a date. So for you, is not that men are pulling away, is that when you start falling in love, when love is something that starts intimacy and the connection starts to build, a fear inside of you is triggered. It's like a switch that goes off like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because that's what I said, whoa, 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 I'm falling in love. Oh, whoa, we don't do this love thing. I said that to myself. I was like, whoa, 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 what's this thing I'm feeling? We don't do this love thing. Because when you trust people, right, this is what I said to myself in 11th and 12th grade. You should listen to the whole story. I'm going to link it here. When you trust people, they're going to leave you. They're going to lie to you. And so I had this fear from abandonment from childhood that had nothing to do with men, that had everything to do with childhood that was showing up. For some of you, you might have had issues with men, breakups, disappointments. You believed in somebody and then he turned out not to be who he said he was. He didn't follow through. So you legit have, reasons to be afraid. But what happens is that unless you process this queen wound, it's called the queen wound, right? It's the belief that in order for you to be loved, you have to be less. That's part of it. Another part of the wound is you will never be enough and you will never be loved enough. Like you always feel like there's something wrong with you. Men won't, the right man for you won't choose you completely, that you have to be more or do less. There's a belief that you're not enough or you're less than you need to be when it comes to love, and they won't choose you. So this wound, this queen wound that I speak of, is that the reason why like it is so triggered in relationship is because when it comes to love is a very deep and intimate thing. It's like that's where our heart is, right? And so if you find relationship completely difficult, while every other aspect of your life is not difficult, is a puzzle you can solve, but relationship feels like a puzzle you can't solve, it is not your fault. It's because it triggers the most intimate part of our identity. It's saying, will somebody ever choose me? Will I ever be loved? Am I enough? Which was the question I was asking him in the car when I was breaking up. I was like, well, you're going to want me to be like this traditional Nigerian woman. I grew up here. You're going to want me to do this. You're going to want me. I was saying all these things. And the man was like, no, I know you grew up here. I know you came here when you were 7. I like you for who you are. Right? And so emotionally intelligent men, many who are dating, who are already established, who are already doing their thing, may not have the patience that I got, the grace that I got when I was in my 20s. But what we are going through is still the same. You get what I mean? And so I need to explain to you like how you're showing up does make men pull away, not because they want to pull away, but because your behavior, your body changes. This is a form of self-sabotage. This queen wound creates a behavioral change in you that impacts your relationship with good men. I want you to understand that. And when you understand that, I don't want you to blame yourself. I want you to understand it. Understanding it is the first step in healing it. So when it comes to these relationships, your goal is not to manage him and try to make him do things so you can trust him. Your goal is to really begin to get anchored and grounded when when connection starts to deepen, when intimacy starts to increase. Your goal is to stay grounded. Your goal is to stay planted and anchored in. It's gonna feel like you can't. It's gonna feel like I can't do this. That's how I felt. Like I was breaking up with him. I was breaking up with him because I was too afraid. I've been hurt before. I felt abandoned and rejected. And that played a role in my childhood, right? Growing up and stuff like that. So I've always kept people at arm's length. I'm saying you're doing that right now. Now in romantic relationship, you might say, Kriya, my friendships are good. That's great. At work, I'm great. I'm thriving. I'm the top performer. I make a lot of money. That is wonderful. But when it comes to romantic relationship, this is where it gets really challenging for you. And I want to invite you to take a look at it again. What I want you to do, right, which is what I had to do, it's not easy, but you can do it, is to allow evidence to lead you and not allow fear to lead. Stop treating a text message that came in a little later than normal as a red flag. Stop allowing like a moment where he just needs a moment to himself to mean something about you. Stop allowing times where, maybe things got a little busy at work to mean that he's leaving or that he's abandoning you, right? Abandoning you. I want you to slow down just a little bit so you can see how you are showing up when connection starts to deepen, when you start really liking somebody, when you start allowing yourself to like somebody, because we can put a block to that too. So when you heal and process this, what's going to happen is that you're going to start showing up so much differently. When you're dating these high achieving men, high earning men who are on your level, what's going to happen is that you're going to feel enough. You're going to feel chosen, right? In the most healthy way, because I know sometimes people have a word with the word chosen. And I mean that in the most healthy way. Chosen, meaning like he likes you for who you are. He likes you for your power. He likes you for your softness. He likes you when you're vulnerable. He likes you when you're out there doing your thing in the world.